What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another Spider-Man PS4 video. My name is Cameron, and today Game Informer have released further in-depth details about Peter Parker in Spider-Man PS4. So yeah, we're going to go through them, we're going to talk about them, and I'm going to give my opinion on what I'm looking forward to and what I like about these details. So let's get to it. To kick it off, creative director Brian Intihart, which I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys are familiar with by now, he started by talking about how it is not Miles Morales under the Spider-Man mask. It's strictly a Peter Parker story. You will play as Miles Morales in the game, but under the main Spider-Man mask, it is Peter Parker. Wait, hold on. I'm sure I remember there being a confirmation of Miles being playable in the game, but don't quote me to that just in case, but I do feel like it's been confirmed. I forget. It's also important to point out that they are not going to be doing an origin story all over again. However, you will be able to collect backpacks around the city with recordings and stuff like that in from Peter Parker's past, uncovering certain aspects of his origin story, maybe how he meets Miles Morales in the game, maybe what's going down with him and Mary Jane's relationship, because we know they've been pretty rocky in this game so far. They've been broken up for like 6 months or so, and those backpacks will hopefully give us some insight into how it's all got to that. Moving on, I was really excited to read about Peter Parker still being bitten by the radioactive spider at the age of 15. It shows that they're sticking to the comics, and in this game, obviously, Spider-Man's 23. He's been Spider-Man for 8 years, and so he's used to his abilities. But it's very interesting to point out that he will be a scientist in the game, which we already knew, but we don't yet know where he's going to be working. So maybe it's a massive spoiler, but I'm going to throw out a few hints. Maybe it's Horizon Labs from the comics, maybe it's actually working at Oscorp, or maybe it's somewhere completely different. But it is very intriguing that Insomniac don't want to release those details until the game releases. So it must be a massive spoiler to the game, but if I had to hope for it, I'd hope that he was working at Horizon Labs. Okay, so now we're getting to one of my favorite moments of the article, because Peter Parker is 23 years old, he's a struggling university/college graduate, and he's on the very edge of also becoming an adult, getting his life together, trying to figure out what he wants to do, and that is exactly where I currently am in my real life. Like, I'm about to turn 22 years old next week, and I graduated university 9 months ago. So I'm currently going through right now what Peter Parker would be going through in the Spider-Man PS4 game, so I'm going to relate to Peter Parker on another level in this game. And that makes me so happy, because obviously Peter Parker's Spider-Man, the whole point of his character is that he's relatable as a human being, as a normal person who also has to balance the superhero lifestyle, and is just so relatable from my perspective. I cannot wait now. Like, that is just amazing. It's actually quite uncanny, like, the timing of the release of this game, because Peter's situation is basically my situation now, which is also really good, but also like, help. Next up, we've got the reveal that Spider-Man will be full of quips whilst fighting bad guys. He's going to be saying jokes, he's going to be kind of making fun of the situation and stuff like that. And obviously, I know from the E3 gameplay, I did see quite a decent amount of people finding Spider-Man's constant quips quite annoying, but obviously, that's just Spider-Man. Like, I don't find it annoying, I think it's actually quite cool, and it doesn't sound like that's going to be going away anytime soon. So for you guys that don't like him saying all his quips and everything, well, you're going to be like infinitely more annoyed, because apparently there's infinitely more quips that Spider-Man's going to say in the full game, so you better get used to it.
And that, my friends, is what karmic justice looks like. Fellas, come on! No turn signals? Gonna have to write you up.
Something else that I was very excited to read about was the fact that Insomniac Games are trying to keep the two characters separate, referring to Peter Parker and Spider-Man. For example, Spider-Man exudes a vast amount of confidence, he stands tall, he knows what he's doing, whereas Peter Parker slouches over a little bit, is a little bit less confident, he stumbles over his words, as it's said in the article. And I feel like that's really good attention to detail, because especially in the Ultimate Spider-Man comics, which I'm currently reviewing, it's very evident in those comics that Peter Parker slouches a lot and is sort of like a little bit smaller, but when he puts on the costume, he stands tall, his chest is out, he's muscular, and you can just tell the difference. It's a very similar thing with Superman and Clark Kent as well. When he's Clark Kent, he slouches over, doesn't really look too powerful, but when he becomes Superman, he looks indestructible. And that's what Insomniac Games are touching upon in this article. And moving even further into the article, it's stated that this game is going to take over a couple of weeks in October. Now, the reason that's extremely intriguing to us is because Peter Parker's birthday is also in October as well. So now I'm fully expecting Peter Parker's birthday to be a plot point in the game, especially in the Peter Parker missions like with Aunt May. Maybe he's got to like go on a date with Mary Jane again for his birthday or something. It's going to come into the story somehow if it goes down that road. It's also stated in the article that characters are going to change clothes as you progress through the game to represent the passage of time. And along with this, the beginning of the game is going to entail Kingpin finally being arrested, and the whole point is that over these last couple of years, Spider-Man has been trying to get Kingpin arrested, and it's not really worked out too much in the past, but now he's finally done it, and this is when Spider-Man thinks, oh, maybe Peter Parker can have more of a life now.
Maybe Peter Parker can have more of a life.
But of course, when a big crime boss goes down, there's always another villain to replace them, and so that's something that Spider-Man's going to continue to learn throughout the game, and basically Spider-Man's never going to get a break, and that's something that Peter Parker's going to have to deal with. So as well as the game's characters changing clothes as you progress through the game, the outside perception and the public's opinion of Spider-Man is also going to change as well. Throughout the game, you're going to be seen as a hero, you're going to be taking selfies, high-fiving civilians, and as the game progresses, you're going to be hated, you're going to be seen as a menace, and I feel like that's definitely where J. Jonah Jameson is going to shine the most. But something they don't really go into too much detail on is what the civilians will be doing when you are seen as a menace. Are they going to throw rubbish at you? Are they going to shout abuse at you as you swing past? Like, obviously there's some psychopathic civilians out there that might just so happen to have a gun, so you know what I mean? We know the actions of the civilians when you're seen as a hero, but what will they do when you're seen as the bad guy? Anyway, to close off all this information about Peter Parker, the article finalizes by revealing how many words are actually in the game script so far, and apparently it's quite long, with close to 400,000 words in the entire game, which is also equivalent to about 3,500 words in a novel or a book or something. So as you can imagine, I'm hoping this game is extensively long, like close to the Arkham games hopefully, but it also has the potential to go up to 800,000 words if they keep everything in. But it was also stated that obviously Spider-Man won't be dropping any F-bombs or swear words or something like that, so if you guys were worried about that, well, there you go, confirmed no swear words technically, or at least none of the really bad ones anyway coming from Spider-Man. And just really quickly, something on the end here, Insomniac Games feel really confident about this game. If they think that they've done really good on the game as true Spider-Man fans, then it fills me with quite a lot of confidence that they are setting out a game to be potentially the best Spider-Man game that's ever released. So far, I actually believe them. They seem like they know what they're doing, and so I am looking forward to that so much. Guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed all of this Spider-Man news. This is Spider-Man PS4. If you want more, hit the subscribe button and make sure you follow me on Twitter. The link is in the description. You can get all of the updates on all this Spider-Man PS4 goodness earlier right on Twitter, so make sure you do that, and I will see you all in my next video. Goodbye.